Freeze. Go. Freeze.
Should I stop now?
Okay, let's restart that whole sequence.
Should I keep going into the end of the line?
Take 4. 1, 2. Okay, hold on. I didn't do that very well, but I like this shot I have right now. So same, you do that same thing.
Can I just see the shot? I want to see it.
No, hold on. I need you there. Okay, same thing except only the notepad on one side on that side. Yes,
Only this
you got
part,
it.
not this.
Not that. Okay, same thing. So I'll say 1, 2, 3, take, and you do it. Okay.
Wait. I finish the line, do I just...
No, you don't get a stop. Or once you finish the line, you slide back. Then we'll stop. Okay. As soon as you finish, slide back. I'll say, okay, good. Or I'll say, okay, take again. So then you can go get, your trailer, your girl, and all that other stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. Okay.
It
Now,
means I can get up right after that.
no, not right after that. Give me a second to make sure I stop, and then you can get up. Okay.
Just do it, you can get
Okay.
up.
Just do it. Come on. Get all lined up, and I'll say ready, and we'll go. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Take 5. 1, 2.
kiss your butt goodbye.
Once the tape is rolling, stand maybe on this side, right here. Actually just turn this this way, and ask the questions from here, and have him look here, not there. Okay. All right.
Am I gonna have an opportunity if I like to like if it doesn't if it's coherent?
Yeah.
Okay, like to
Got an hour worth of tape.
okay.
Yeah, this is all gonna be two questions in full sentences because we're gonna cut the question out, right? Remember that? Okay.
So kind of look at the camera.
Okay.
So can you state your name and your position at the 911 Association?
My name is Jeff Berg, program coordinator. I'm the program director. I just got promoted yesterday of the 9 Mile Run Watershed Association. And is that enough?
So what's the purpose for the reconstruction of the stream and for turning the playing fields into swamplands?
Okay. Well, the behind the creation of the 9 Mile Run is to return. It's an example of restorative restoration, restorative development in an urban setting. What was once a liability, which is a dirty stream that was filled with pollution and sewage, and turning it into an asset where people can go and enjoy the stream, enjoy the tracks. It's a, I don't know, is that good enough? Or I can talk more about it. The restoration of the 9 Mile Run is part of a larger redevelopment of the former Duquesne slag heap that is just on the east side of it's now called the Somerset Housing Development. The city of Pittsburgh purchased that property in the 1990s with the intention of redeveloping it into generate tax income for the city of Pittsburgh and provide new housing for the city of Pittsburgh residents. The original plan entailed actually putting the remaining 2.1 miles of 9 Mile Run into pipes and leveling the slag heap over that and building 1,400 units of housing. But some people in the city of planning, for the city of Pittsburgh, city planning in the city of Pittsburgh, and some people at the Carnegie Mellon University Studio for Creative Inquiry thought that they could be more creative and come up with an idea that preserved the stream, reduced the number of housing, and incorporate the stream into the redevelopment. So that's sort of the project came from. It was an example of instead of hiding a problem that we created through our industrial past, it was looking at creative ways of restoring the stream, taking responsibility for it, and instead of ignoring it or letting it be polluted, looking at creative ways of and making it a the community.
And because when I was down there, I saw they had like made swamplands. They had dug up the ground and made swamplands. That's part of their.
Yes, and part of the restoration involved recreating wetlands. Several areas of the restoration had originally natural wetlands before development occurred around the areas of Frick Park and the east end of Pittsburgh. In Fern Hollow, which is the lower part of Park, where the Fern Hollow stream and the Ravine stream come together and meet 9 Mile Run, the Falls Ravine stream was actually what was called daylighted. It was taken back out of the strips underneath the field. And so part of the restoration was to daylight the stream and plant what was once a field with native wetland plant. And why they did that is that native wetlands actually clean and control stormwater. Stormwater is a major problem in urban watersheds, such as the 9 Mile Run watershed, where water doesn't have an opportunity to soak into the soil the way it does in natural setting, because of sidewalks and pavements and parking lots and things like that. So when it does rain, you have an extra high volume of water flowing into streams. So wetlands actually absorb excess storm, and the roots of the plants clean pollutants out of the water, and it also provides habitat for animals and wildlife. So those are the reasons why some of the former fields and things were turned back into wetlands, the ones in close proximity to the stream. So some people that live around the park, why they would take away fields to create wetlands. But I guess the argument is that there are a lot of active recreation areas in the park already, ball fields and playgrounds and things like that, and that these few areas around the stream could be used as passive recreation areas where people can go and instead of playing, can view wildlife and enjoy wildlife there.
Yeah, I was down shooting somebody again, and I was looking at the 9 Mile Run stream, and I noticed there were large boulders on the side of the stream,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just wondering what they were there for, and also was wondering how you're making because my dad knows something about fish run more naturally. I was just wondering how you were doing that or accomplishing that.
Okay. Some of the restoration techniques that were used in restoring Nile Run include reconfiguring the stream channel, actually putting what's called meanders in the stream, which are bends, and a natural go like this, and 9 Mile Run tended to be straight, because as I had mentioned before, there's wet water flowing through urban waterways because of the rain's inability to soak into the ground. So it's all channeled into the stream, and so when you have rain, you have a strong force of water coming down the stream channel, and over time that actually straightened 9 Mile Run stream channel. So, as I was saying, one of the restoration techniques is to add meanders. Another thing, because of the force of the water, is you have a lot of erosion, stream bank erosion, and so they use large boulders, a couple techniques to stabilize the stream bank. They'll line the banks with large boulders, and they'll also plant native wetland plants such as willows and dogwoods along the banks. So that help cut down. Some rocks are also used in what are called pool and riffle sequences. When the water's flowing down through the stream, for the water to drop into and slow down, and then right after the pool will be boulders will be used to create what's called a riffle sequence, where the water drops into the pool and then riffles over. That actually helps the water down, and it helps oxygenate the water, which is good for the animals that live there. So it's helping to control the stormwater and the excess stormwater or to control the excess stormwater. Um, the stream bank stabilization with the boulders in the plant, configuring of the stream, and the pools and riffles are methods that the contractors have used to restore the stream.
And also noticed at one time run it, it's like encased in concrete. There's like a concrete trench or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And are you gonna leave that there to like are you gonna take it down and reconstruct the stream there? Or are you just gonna leave that part?
You're referring to the upper part of the stream towards the parkway?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, just after 9 Mile Run comes out of the main outfall culvert, which is it that part of the stream is actually, that property is owned by the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, and so where the main outfall culvert is, all the way down, it's about I'd say 100 yards of a cement channel. That portion will not be uh, part of the restoration, the stream restoration. The stream restoration is a project of the Army Corps of Engineers and property in the park. So the beginning of the stream restoration begins just at as soon as the water comes off of that concrete lined channel, that's the beginning of the stream restoration. And the restoration goes from there down to the Monongahela River, down to its mouth at the Monongahela River, which is about 2.1 miles.
Another question was about the sewage, and there are different types. There's the stormwater pipes and the sewage, like aqua pipes.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering how the sewage got into the stormwater pipes.
Mm-hmm. Sewage is a problem in 9 Mile Run for a couple of reasons. There's two different kinds of sewage systems in the watershed. The watershed's made up of 4 municipalities. One is the city of Pittsburgh, one is Edgewood, one is Wilkinsburg, and one is Swissvale. Older cities have, and Pittsburgh is an older city that has what's called a CSO, a combined sewer overflow system. That means that stormwater and sewage flow through the same pipe. In dry weather, this isn't a problem. Sewage flows through the pipe. It goes to Alcosan, the treatment plant, the sewage treatment plant. It's treated, and that's fine. But this system is actually designed to overflow in wet weather because the pipes can only hold so much volume. So when it rains, you have rain and sewage flowing through the same pipe. So it only takes as little as 1/10 of an inch of rain, which is a fairly small amount of rain, to cause these CSOs to discharge into our waterways. And the overflows, the manholes, and the piping is generally built down along our waterways. So if you have a rain event of 1/10 of an inch or greater, and the average rainfall in Allegheny County is 1/4 of an inch. So almost every time it rains, you're going to have combined sewers overflowing into our waterways, including 9 Mile Run. You also have sewage being a problem in separate systems. Municipalities, younger municipalities such as Edgewood and Swissvale and Wilkinsburg have separate systems where the stormwater is to flow through one set of pipes and the sanitary lines are separate. But what happens over time, or what's happened over time, is that as communities develop, say for example someone's building a house and they know they need to connect their downspout from their roof into the storm line. Well, as they're digging down, they find a pipe and they figure they don't know whether it's sanitary or stormwater. They drop it in there. So what's happened over time is that a lot of people's roof downspouts have been connected to the sanitary lines, which means that when it rains, not only do you have the sewage flowing through the sanitary lines, but you have stormwater coming from people's houses. So within the 9 Mile Run watershed, there are consent orders from the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection that every house in the watershed, or in the communities of, or in the municipalities of Edgewood and Swissville and Wilkinsburg, every house had to be tested to see if their downspouts were connected to the sanitary line or the sewage line. So that is one way that sewage is a problem in separate systems as well, because separate systems aren't intended to overflow. They're not intended to overflow sewage into our waterways. But because people's downspouts were connected to the sanitary line, but also just from aging infrastructure. You know, if the pipes are old and cracked, they get groundwater infiltration, and then they're likely to overflow as well.
And once the sewage gets in the stream,
Mhm.
how is it contained or stopped from? I don't know.
Once the sewage is in the stream, it's in there. Once the sewage is in the stream is polluted with raw sewage, and the evidence is very clear. Down near the mouth of 9 Mile Run is a combined sewer overflow discharge. Remember that the city of Pittsburgh's combined sewer system is designed to overflow in wet weather with sewage. But down by the community of Duck Hollow, where 9 Mile Run meets the Monongahela, there is a CSO discharge. And if you go down there after a rain, you'll see the banks of the Monongahela are coated with toilet paper and other things that you can imagine. Anything that you can imagine people flushing down the toilet is on the banks of the river. So it's a very, I don't think a lot of people realize that happens, and that the system in Pittsburgh is actually designed to have that happen. But the reality of it is when the sewage is in the river, it's in the river. And in Allegheny County, on average, 70 days per year out of the recreation season, which is basically Labor Day or Memorial Day through Labor Day, pretty much 50% of those days there are fecal coliform warnings for people who are boating and recreating down on the river, which means that there are dangerously high levels of bacteria contaminating the water, and that you shouldn't come in contact with it. And most of the people in Allegheny County, their source of drinking water is our rivers. We do have, the Pennsylvania Water and Sewer Authority do have a very good filtration system, but you know, so our drinking water is okay, but it's you know, it's really important. That's why it's really important for people to understand these issues about sewage overflows, and the mission of our organization is to help educate people about simple things that they can do around their homes to help prevent things like sewage overflows.
How long is the entire reconstruction going to take of the whole 9 Mile Run thing? And can you just name a few of the different aspects of the reconstruction?
Different aspects?
We were talking about they were actually making the stream more natural.
Mm-hmm.
Just name a few if there are more.
Okay. Okay. The entire restoration, the phase 1 of the restoration has been complete. The Fern Hollow wetlands and the stream channel from the first drop pool at the end of that cement line channel down to Commercial Avenue. That was phase 1, and that's completed. Phase 2 goes from Commercial Avenue in Squirrel Hill down to Duck Hollow in the Monongahela River. Altogether, that'll be 2.1 miles of stream that'll have been restored to a more natural state. And the restoration began in 2001, in the spring of 2001, and it should be completed. The final phase should be completed by the fall of 2006.
And who did you say the city of Pittsburgh first came up with the idea for restoring the?
Mm-hmm. The original, the idea for restoring the stream came out of from a couple different sources. Some, as I mentioned before, some forward-thinking people in the Department of City Planning for the City of Pittsburgh. Some folks at the Studio for Creative Inquiry at Carnegie Mellon University. The studio basically is it's a project that brings together people from different disciplines, such as art and biology and economists, to come together to think creatively about restorative development, how to restore society to using art and approaching it from different disciplines. And also residents who are active from around the area. Those people lobbied the Army Corps of Engineers to come in and consider doing this redevelopment project. From the beginning, the City of Pittsburgh was a partner with the Army Corps once they were brought on board. The City of Pittsburgh contributed $2.7 million towards the project, and they actually, their work was done first, and most of their work focused in Fern Hollow. And those folks who had originally, came up with the idea to restore the stream and got the Army Corps to undertake it, eventually became the Watershed Association's board of directors, a lot of those folks. Our organization, the 9 Mile Run Watershed Association, is also a byproduct of those individuals and of the stream restoration itself. Okay. You're welcome. Do you want me to repeat that first part about who I was because I said my title wrong? Or does that matter? Oh, about like saying, oh, I got promoted yesterday. Okay. All right. All right. Cool.